Yes, guys, what's happening? And welcome back to the channel and welcome to tonight's live stream where we're going to be discussing all things Newcastle United, the transfer window so far, and any possible arrivals incoming on deadline day. And joining me to discuss this is YouTuber and massive Newcastle fan, Proudlock. Mate, thanks for your time as always. Must be a really exciting time to be a Newcastle fan. Opening up all the sports pages or switching on Sky Sports News and, players signing left, right and centre, being linked with different names all over the place. It's a far cry from the sad, dark days of the Steve Bruce and Mike Ashley reign. Before we get into the deals, just how different is the mood now around Newcastle, around the club, around the ground when you go on match days now that you've got Eddie Howe in, the new regime's in, and you're actually being backed?
Oh, it's a lot more brighter now in terms of our future at this football club. It's not toxic anymore. All the fan base is pretty much coming together now. We're getting behind the side. Yes, we all know still results haven't been great because it's been majority down to players have not been good enough lately for this football club. But now with the signings we are bringing in, it's looking a lot more positive now because Eddie Howe knows this current squad he had previously wasn't good enough. And it's glad to see him being backed and bringing the players he wants to make the squad a lot more better now.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously the picture has changed. Newcastle at the moment in the table, I'm just going to bring it up now. They're a lot closer to safety than when we last spoke, which was just before Eddie Howe was being appointed. Still in that drop zone, but with a game in hand, not far behind Norwich, a point behind Norwich with a game in hand, and not far off Everton. Admittedly, played a game more, but a massive game against Everton coming up next in the league. So the situation is not as bad as it was, and I think staying up now is a real strong possibility, which is obviously massive. So, I mean, do you feel more confident now about staying up?
I am feeling a lot more confident now. I think these players hopefully will give us a massive lift because Eddie Howe's looked to identify key areas which needed sorting out. And I'm really looking forward to see what these new players can do. Particularly the one I'm really excited about is Bruno Guimares.
Yeah.
From Leon. I've seen him play. He looks quite skillful on the ball. He's a box-to-box midfielder as well and defensive midfielder. He could play in there so he can help protect the defense out as well. That's the one I'm really looking forward to. I think the signing of Dan Burn will give us a bit more Premier League experience at the back because that's been one of our woeful parts of the squad this season, why we've been leaking in goals. So hopefully he gives us that bit of bright spark as well because I think he can defend. He's a local lad as well, which is really good. So, and very tall lad as well. So I'm really looking forward to see what he can do as well. Left back with Matty Target, I think is possibly going to be a good one as well because we've had issues in that position.
Yeah.
Richie just kind of play there. He hasn't got the pace to defend or to get up the pitch as what he used to do. Dummett, I don't think he's got the pace anymore as well. I think Lewis is still learning, which I see as a good thing, but it's going to provide competition between him and Matty Target in that position now.
Yeah, I mean, Newcastle spending upwards of £90 million in this window so far. Could increase as with the hours to go until deadline day. But it all started off with the first kind of deal of the regime. Kieran Trippier joined from Atletico Madrid at right back. He's obviously out of the new signings. He's had the longest amount of time to bed in. Firstly, what were your thoughts on his signing in general? The fact that he swapped the Champions League for a relegation battle with Newcastle, essentially. What were your thoughts on that signing, and how do you feel he's done so far in the games that he has played?
Be very impressed with him. He looks more of a leader out on that pitch. He's certainly not to give players a rollicking if they're not performing. And this lad could be captain.
Yeah,
possibly. Yeah, I think he's captain material already. I think he wanted to come back to his country, and he wanted to play somewhere up north, and we came in for him. And again, I would say that position needed sorted out. I do rate Mankio. I think he can be good, but it's just Emil Kraft. I think it's just been an absolute waste of a signing, I must say, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Trippier has a good pedigree, great experience, shows those leadership qualities and stuff. So I think a really important signing to get through the door. Another one that's come in. Obviously, goals at the top end of the pitch have been quite hard to come by. I mean, if St Maximum doesn't score, doesn't tend to be a lot else. Callum Wilson can't do it all on his own. There has needed to be some support up there. Chris Wood did arrive from Burnley. I think 20-25 million pounds. There are a few eyebrows raised at that price tag, and someone that's not particularly a prolific goal scorer at this level with the Premier League. But what are your thoughts on that signing? And I suppose it did significantly weaken a rival in relegation in Burnley. But I mean, do you think Chris Wood is the answer to the goal scoring issues?
Long term, no. I don't think he's going to be a long-term signing at the football club, but he does add, again, a bit more Premier League experience up front because he has done it for a few seasons with Burnley. Now, I can understand why they went and got him. He's only played 2 games, but I think there's still time. I think we need to make sure the service is what we need to him, and it hasn't been there for him, I would say, at the moment. That has been the key issue. He's had a little bit sloppiness against Leeds. His home debut, not too bad, but again was starved of service. We need to provide service for the lad if he is to score goals.
Yeah, I mean, do you see him and Callum Wilson playing up front as a partnership, or is it going to be one or the other?
Oh, it's a tough one. I mean, it could happen either way. I mean, I think we went with 4-3-3 against Leeds United and it worked a little bit more better. Was the 4-4-2 possibly didn't work as much? But we'll wait and see. If Eddie Howe wants to play them 2 up top, I'm all for it. I mean, it's good to have a striker partnership together as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think in St Maximum, you've got someone who can obviously definitely provide that service.
If he can.
But it just depends on how much of a consistent basis he can do it on. What am I doing here? Stop showing that. Yeah, it's interesting. But I mean, a striker where it didn't quite happen was Hugo Ekitiki, I think, the 19-year-old Stade Reims forward. A deal was agreed.
It was.
But the structure of the payment couldn't be agreed on in terms of I think a sell-on fee was wanted, and Ekitike himself saying that it was kind of too late in the day to make such a big decision in his career. I mean, are you disappointed about that one not working out, or I mean, what do you feel?
It's a hard one. I mean, he is a very young lad, so I haven't seen him play a lot. That is the thing. So, not really disappointed. I mean, there could still be other options out there, possibly, but I think we could have done with an extra striker because we've only got Chris Wood, Callum Wilson's out injured, and Dwight Gale is just kind of cut it in this Premier League now, unfortunately.
Yeah. So do you think that is another one needed, or you think you've got enough to?
I think it'd be great
to get by with.
If we don't get another one, I suppose it's not the end of the world in a way, but we really could do with another one.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of attacking players coming in, before we go back to the other guys who have already come in, Jesse Lingard is still favoured by Newcastle to join on loan. West Ham were also in the running, but obviously Man United not wanting to put Lingard on loan to West Ham. They see them as a direct rival for the top 4. I mean, how the mighty have fallen there in Manchester United, not wanting to loan a player to West Ham in case they miss out on Champions League football. Newcastle understood to be the front runners here. Offered a £3 million loan fee plus £4 million survival bonus for Jesse Lingard, and they are awaiting response from Manchester United. That was tweeted out at 5 p.m. by Craig Hope, who is I think the northern correspondent for the Daily Mail. What are your thoughts on that deal? And do you think Newcastle decent deal for them?
Well, unfortunately, there's now breaking news have come out in regards to Jesse Lingard. He's now staying at Man United.
Oh, he's not coming. Oh, well,
He's
there we
not
go
coming
then.
out. So that's just come out now. So he's now going to stay at Manchester United.
Yeah.
By the looks of it now. I wonder if they've done this because of what's happened to Mason Greenwood. So Man United are going to now use him as an option now in their side. We'll wait and see.
Yeah,
But
it's possible.
I am gutted. But we have now got Matt Toggett over the line on loan now.
Would you have liked to have seen Lingard come?
I would have, yes. I think again he adds that more Premier League experience to the side as well. Again, could do with another attacking option. I would have taken this lad definitely.
I mean, it could have been quite exciting. St. Maximum, Lingard, Callum Wilson / Chris Wood. I mean, that's not. It's got the makings of a potentially quite exciting front three, but obviously not to be for Jesse Lingard just breaking as we were on air. But someone who has come in and who is probably the marquee signing, the statement signing, I guess someone that you always look for when you've just been taken over as a club, you've got new money. You know, you always wait for one player to take the plunge to join the project first, and then that kind of opens the floodgates for others to come forward. And that's Bruno Guimares, the Brazilian player, signed from Olympique Lyonnais, box-to-box midfielder, can also play holding midfield. Very, very talented, great ability, and a real coup for Newcastle to get this deal over the line. Arsenal were also interested. How excited are you by Guimares arriving at Newcastle? And I mean, it's a really important signing for the regime as well to kind of, as I said, potentially set the floodgates open for more players of a higher quality to arrive at the club.
As I mentioned earlier, I'm really looking forward to see what this lad could do. Again, I mean, I've seen the clips of him. He could certainly pick a pass out as well. He's quite skillful on the ball. And again, it's a position we've needed to sort out as well. Our midfielders look quite dead in certain parts as well. I think Shelby has done very well under Eddie Howe. But the likes of Joe Willock, Sean Logster.
I mean, what's happened to Joe Willock? He's really good on loan under Steve Bruce. You paid the £20 million for him. It's just not happening now, is it?
It's not. I mean, people say, did he play for an Arsenal contract to try and get back on the side, which obviously didn't happen. Sean Logstaff, I mean, he's been utterly abysmal in the past couple of games. I mean, and Jeff Hendrick at the minute's not getting a look at now. Well, it's rumoured he could be going out on a loan to Middlesbrough. So I'm glad we've got this position kind of sorted out as well. He hasn't played in the Premier League yet.
No. But
I think a lot of our fan base are really excited by Bruno coming into the side.
Yeah, no, it's a massive deal for Newcastle. A real statement signing. I guess the one you're kind of looking for in the first window, and obviously he's over the line, and it's going to be exciting times to see him in a Newcastle shirt. I'm sure he'll be kind of a fan favorite. It's a great story about the shirt number he's picked. That it's the same number as his dad's taxi is back in Brazil. So it's quite a nice touch there. In terms of the window on a whole so far, I mean, there could be a few more still to come in. We don't know. How pleased have you been with the business? Obviously, it's obvious that Newcastle had to go and spend money in this window and get the players in, but it's important to get the right players in. Are you happy with the players that have come in so far? And do you feel that ultimately they still got to gel and perform as a team? So, I mean, are you happy with the two parts to that question? Are you happy with the signings? And then second part, how easy do you think it is going to be to integrate all these new names in and get the results on the pitch to push you up the table?
I am quite pleased with what we've done. I think we still could have got other options. I mean, I would have liked to have seen Diego Carlos or possibly Sven Botman, who we're linked with. But unfortunately, those deals didn't go ahead, but possibly could go in the summer because I thought they could have really added some a bit of quality to our side. But I think I'm quite pleased because normally transfer deadline day under Mike Ashley, it was just a normal day. Normal day it was. No business done. There was probably most load players leaving, best players leaving. But I'm just delighted we've been there. Get the business done because again, Eddie Howe wants to improve on this side, which is really good. Hopefully, the gelling very, very quickly. I mean, a current players we've got are Premier League proven. Like Trippier's played in the Premier League. Obviously, Matt Target has, Dan Burn has as well. So hopefully these players gel very, very quickly because it's massive for us now, for us to stay up.
I mean, I'm not to kind of be doom and gloom about the sort of the feel-good factor around St James's Park, but I mean, say you didn't stay up, you signed all these players, it would be an absolute disaster to go down. And in terms of like the likes of Guimares is never going to play in the Championship.
No.
So how much of I mean, I presume you don't really think about it, but has it, has the thought entered your mind that we spent all this money, we signed these players? What happens if we go down?
I think there'll be a lot of departures going in terms of what top players. I think Guimares, he wouldn't stay on. I think Maximan wouldn't stay on. Possibly Wilson as well. I think there would be a lot of players to be leaving. I think they would still keep Eddie Howe though, because I think you would look at him and think he's a manager that will get a team back up into the Premier League. You see what he did with Bournemouth. But I just hope that it doesn't come to the case because with the players we signed, it's vital that we stay in this Premier League now. We've got a really good chance of doing that now.
I mean, do you think that some of these signings have been made with perhaps an eye on potentially, if you were to go down, players that would stay with you to get you back up? So the likes of, your Dan Burns, he'd probably play in the Championship for Newcastle. The likes of Chris Wood would probably stay and play in the Championship. Do you think that part of the recruitment strategy, whilst getting some top players in, it's also to get players in that will improve the side now, but are also kind of highly likely to stay on if the worst case scenario did happen?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, the likes of Wood will stay. Possibly the likes of what current centre-backs will have now. But I think the owners, if we're to go down, the owners will look to definitely get players in that will get us back up. But then continue to build on from there.
I mean, in terms of Guimares, obviously you don't know the ins and outs of the contracts, but, if Newcastle were to go down, do you think he's got a clause in his contract that if Newcastle get relegated, he can leave for a certain amount of money? Or
I don't think they actually put a relegation clause on his contract, from what I'm aware of, but I would expect him to stay if he were to go down.
I think I'd be surprised if he were to stay. But obviously, that's like the window. It's been really exciting, etc.
It has.
What do you feel that Eddie Howe's got to do now to get these results? I mean, what areas need improving in terms of like on the pitch, in terms of performance levels? Is there a particular area that Newcastle have been struggling in? Or what kind of tactically needs to change to start picking up wins? Because it still only is 2 wins this season.
Yep. I mean, when we're going front, we need to look to build on it and try and go for that next goal, because so many times we've sat on a 1-0 lead and then we've thrown it away completely. I mean, we've done it against Watford. There's so many teams we've done that again this season, and that's been one of our weakest points. This playing out from the back. I think we need to cut this out of our game a lot now. It doesn't work. We've been found out massively out for doing it. The defending's got to be a lot more better. We've got to make sure we get tight on certain players now. I've seen so many times where we're miles off a player and then he's got an opportunity, and 9 times out of 10, it's in the back of the net. So, again, hopefully Eddie Howe is getting these lads in training to make sure our second half of the season goes to plan.
I mean, I suppose, obviously it was very disappointing to go out of the FA Cup against Cambridge, but do you feel like actually looking forwards, with this break that you've had, time to get the new players training on the training pitch, a lot of time on the training pitch for Eddie Howe to work on tactics, implement his ideas that you don't normally get in the season. Do you feel that it could almost be a bit of a blessing, this extra time you've had to, have on the training pitch?
It could well be as well, because I think Eddie Howe will want to get those lads in training pretty much every day of the week. Hopefully get some players back from injury as well, because we all know in the Leeds game, Lascelles, Dummett and Joe Linton had to come off with injuries, and hopefully they all come back. Lascelles, I'm not really bothered, but the other two possibly. I mean, Joe Linton's done very well for us lately in midfield. I mean, Eddie Howe's got him into a different new player playing in that position.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna.
again, it's now to get the lads there prepared and hopefully get some players back fit.
I
For when we take on
I
Everton.
was gonna say, Joelinton, the £40 million spent on him. I think when Rafa Benitez was there, I don't think
Yeah,
Benitez
with
actually.
Steve Bruce, who was under
Still Steve Bruce. I don't think Steve Bruce wanted Joelinton, but I mean, he's come in. Let's be honest, he was pretty woeful. Scored a couple of goals.
He did.
Are you surprised at how Eddie Howe's managed to rejuvenate him? And are you surprised that him dropping deeper into midfield seems to have unlocked his ability as a footballer? Because he's clearly not a bad player, but we just didn't see anything to suggest that he was really going to reach any sort of potential at Newcastle.
I mean, I think the previous scouts didn't scout him properly. They thought, £40 million, he might do well up front and might give us double figures. Well, that certainly wasn't the case with Eddie Howe. Had probably sat down with him, worked not just with the rest of the lads, but I think he's done it on a one-to-one basis with Joelinton as well, and thinking, right, we think we can see something in you. We're going to work on this, work on that, and try you a new position and see if it pays off. And from what I've seen, his hold up play has been a lot better. He's managing to win the ball off other players as well, and some players can't really cope with him now. So I'm really glad they've looked at that and they've found a new good position for Joelinton, because striker just did not work for him at all.
Yeah, no, it certainly wasn't happening. I just wanted to talk about another position where Newcastle have been linked with players. No one's actually come in yet. Probably won't happen on deadline day, but never say never. The goalkeeping position. I've seen reports, possibly could be wide of the mark. Dean Henderson, Manchester United goalkeeper, possibly on loan. I'm not sure if that's going to happen now. And also probably one for the summer, but Bernd Leno from Arsenal also linked with Newcastle. What are your thoughts on either of those two names? And do you have any further information from the Newcastle end?
I wouldn't say those deals are likely to happen now, but I think a new goalkeeper wouldn't be too bad for the summer. I think apart from Dubravka, I think we've got to start offloading some of our current goalkeepers. I think Darlow's pretty much come the end of his prime time now. Gillespie's not really getting a look in. We've now sent Freddie Woodman out on loan to Bournemouth. So we'll wait and see. I mean, he could have a potential. Maybe it was just a little bit too soon for him. But I think competition for Dubravka will be so bad, because I do rate Dubravka as one of our top goalkeepers. But his distribution has been a little bit all over the place. I mean, the Cambridge game, he's a massive fault for that. I know he's holding an injury, but I think he's a massive fault for that goal. And again, he's been trying to do this playoff from the back, and it just hasn't worked. So, new goalkeeper wouldn't be so bad for next season.
Yeah, no, I think it's an area that is important. I mean, obviously you watch a lot more of Newcastle than I do. Dubravka, obviously, kind of a decent pair of hands, but it's one of those positions you look at, particularly when you've got new money, new backing, ambitions to break into European football and ultimately win trophies. It's a position that could definitely be improved. I mean, Dubravka could obviously be good as a backup, but you'd ideally probably want to have someone a little bit better. But obviously, you can't. Yeah. It's not gonna be done all in one window. You know, these things take time. Do you think there's going to be any more outgoings before the deadline at 11 p.m. tonight? Any players that could be leaving the club? Because the squad must be getting pretty big now with all these players coming in.
Yeah, I think there might still be some departures go. We've let Freddie Woodman go out on loan to Bournemouth. There's rumours that Jeff Hendrick could go to Middlesbrough. Same with Kieran Clark. Rumour to go to Middlesbrough as well. So there's still time. We've loaned out one of the youngsters out to Hartlepool United, Joe White. So there's still time for departures to come out. I think Eddie Howe's probably going to have a look and think and just say, right, you've overstayed your time at this football club. It's either time to go this window. If not this window, I think there'll be a lot of departures in the summer. Massively, I think there'll be a lot. That
I mean, it's obviously critical, isn't it? Obviously, Newcastle got a lot of money, but the books do need to balance themselves, or some money does need to, come back into the club.
Yeah.
So I guess it's important, even if it's just getting the wages off the books, just to get the deadwood out the club.
Absolutely. I mean, I think some of these players of current we've got have over time to stay. I think Jamal Lascelles, he's not got what it takes to be a captain anymore. Kieran Clark's past his time at Richie. He's been a great servant, but again, the paces not there anymore. The Longstaff brothers, I just don't think have got a future at the football club as well. Dwight Gale's more suited for the championship. Another player I'm going to pick out now that I don't think is good enough for this club, and that's Miguel Almeron.
What's happened to him? Because he come in for big money, has shown glimpses. I mean, do you think there's a future for him at Newcastle? And has he actually featured much under Eddie Howe? Because I thought he'd be a kind of quite an important player.
He has featured a couple of games. I mean, the Burnley game where we won 1-0, he wasn't too bad, but when I went down to Leicester away, he was very poor in that game. There was no end product. This Man United game, I thought, okay, he was unlucky enough unlucky not to score in that game, but just this season has not been impressed by him. I mean, people say the pace is there, but the final product is just, it's not been there at all from him. It's been non-existent for him. I thought it was that when I went down to Leicester when we got absolutely battered 4-0. I mean, the Cambridge game as well. I mean, he takes a shot on his strongest foot and it goes right in towards the corner flag, into the strawberry corner of the ground. I'm thinking, what's happened?
Yeah.
I mean, say, oh, but he's been playing out of position, all that. But
Yeah.
he's also an international footballer as well. And I've just not seen it at all from Almiron this season. I think it's time we look to move it on. I don't think it'll be this window, but I think it could possibly be in the summer now.
I mean, do you think, talking of kind of outgoings and stuff, do you think Newcastle are going to struggle to recoup money that they paid for some of these players when they look to move them on? I mean, I think Almiron came in for 20 or 25 million pounds.
21 million pounds from Atlanta and the MLS.
I mean, I'd be surprised if Newcastle were able to get anywhere near, were able to get 20 million pounds for him. I mean, is it a worry that certain players that have come in for big money, it's not worked out? You're going to have to take quite a big loss on them.
Absolutely, yes. And I mean, the wages will be on as well. I mean, some of the players we are who are just not good enough on ridiculous wages as well. So again, other clubs are going to possibly be part of by it, thinking, "Oh, could ask for a lower price," but the wages, how much are they going to ask for in wages? So you're going to have to take a punt on that as well.
I mean, that's the problem that kind of we experienced at Chelsea as well. The signing of players that ultimately aren't good enough, but they're signed on massive contracts. And big wages, and then you cannot get rid of them. They end up going out on loan for multiple seasons, and you end up just losing them on a free because no one is prepared to pay the money you want to get rid of them. And even if you get a bid accepted, they're not going to pay all the wages, or they're not going to give the wages they want. So you end up in a really difficult situation. But all clubs have got it where they've got players that aren't good enough to play for them, but they can't move them on because they're not going to get the wages they're on anywhere else. So you end up in a bit of a sort of a continuous cycle. So I guess the recruitment is really important at all clubs. But I mean, particularly for Newcastle as well, with the new money, you're going to get agents on the phone all over the place.
Absolutely.
offering players. You've got to make sure that, they've got the right intentions. It's kind of the right character, the right profile for the club, because agents and stuff will try and take Newcastle to the cleaners for getting as much money as possible.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, we've seen some of the clubs they're frustrated when we got our takeover. I think it was just all down to jealousy at times because, I mean, this is something we really needed. We had 14 years of torture under Mike Ashley, and it was just horrible. It was just toxic. The fan base used to turn on each other at times, but now when you look at with the new ownership, that's not there anymore. If we've got back to what it used to be in the old days, back in the 90s, early 2000, and that's what it should be all about.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose go back to those Bobby Robson days, the Champions League days. I guess the feel good factor is back at St James Park. Just before we round out, mate, do you think anyone else is going to come in before the deadline, and who would that most likely to be, in your opinion?
Well, it's a hard one now because we thought Ekitiki was going to come and we're saying with Lingard. if them are not coming, I've got the feeling that's probably going to
That'll be
be
it.
possibly business done. But if I manage to get one or over the line, that would be good. But I'm not sure who it could be though now.
What position would you ideally like someone to come in at?
I think the striker would be good.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. I mean, but last thing, mate. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you're going to say yes to this, but do you think Newcastle have now got enough to stay up?
I do believe we now have got enough to stay up now. I think we've looked to identify key areas which needed strengthening, because Eddie Howe again probably assessed his squad, and he just said, I need my own players in now, and he's got them. So hopefully it gives us a bit of encouragement now, and I think the atmosphere against Everton on the 8th of February will be bouncing.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie Howe's...
it's a game we can win, and it's a game we can win.
100%. Even with Frank Lampard in the dugout,
exactly.
Everton's still in terrible form. So it's a very much a winnable game for Newcastle. But I mean, I've as a Chelsea fan, I mean, not much going on in our window. I've enjoyed seeing what players Newcastle have been bringing in, etc. It's provided me a bit of entertainment in a very boring window for myself. I mean, it's been you look back, it's been a fantastic window for Newcastle. Kieran Trippier coming in, obviously Bruno Guimares, Chris Woods, Dan Burn at the back, Matty Target. So some great players and players with Premier League experience as well coming in. They've improved in a lot of areas of the pitch. So, yeah, I think the future is definitely bright for Newcastle. But now Eddie Howe's been backed in this window. He needs to hold up his part of the bargain and get these players gelling and get those results on the football pitch, because ultimately that's what it all comes down to. But I share your thoughts, mate. I think Newcastle will stay up. But ultimately, they still got to pick those results up on the pitch. But
yeah,
it's been a really exciting window for Newcastle. Still a few hours left until deadline day, so there could be some more incomings, potentially some outgoings as well. Guys, make sure you do subscribe to Proudlock's channel. I've linked it in the description below, so do subscribe to that. Some really good content on there for all things Newcastle. And for myself, guys, make sure you smash a like on this video and please do subscribe to the channel. 5 away from 300, looking to hit there by the end of today. So if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, you're watching it back, please hit that subscribe button. Want to hit 300 by the end of the day. 5 to go. So please do help me out. Appreciate all of your support. Mate, thank you for your time.
Thanks very much again for having me.
Hope the players gel well at Newcastle and you start to move your way up the table. I'll be watching keenly. But yeah, thanks for your time, mate. And guys, we'll catch you again soon.
Is there?